Everyone's acting like if you're not using AI by now, you're basically running your business with a flip phone. Relax. You don't need 10 tools. You don't need a $10,000 course or even having a meltdown. These 7 beginner tips will help you get started and no tech cult initiation required. Welcome back to another episode of the Cerebral Pundits. You have myself, Casey Bluford, joined by my co-host, Evita Miller. Evita, what's going on? What are we talking about today?
Yes. Hello. We're excited to be here. Of course, we are always looking for new ways to help entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, business owners learn to leverage and use AI. And we also realize that, hey, we're not all experts. There might be some beginners out there, and we all remember what that feels like. So today we are breaking down 7 tips for beginners for helping you starting to use AI in your business.
Awesome. Love it. Let's get right into it though. Tip number one, shift your mindset. AI is a skill, it's not magic. So there's this AI is almost like a buzzword right now. It gets thrown out there and so many people are like, oh my God, I don't know anything AI. I'm so behind in AI.
Yeah.
You don't need to know necessarily how AI works. You just need to know how to use it as like a tool. So think of Google, think of Excel, think of something like Microsoft Word. Those are tools that we use on a daily basis, but we might not necessarily know exactly how everything's operating on the back end or what coding kind of goes into it. All we know is that we leverage it as a tool. That's the same thing we have to do with AI. The second myth is that AI is replacing you. I hear that so frequently nowadays, but AI is not here to replace you. It's here to make your life easier and make your business faster. Now, even if you're not a business owner, if you're a creator, if you're just an entrepreneur or solopreneur, AI is here to complement all things that you do. And I think that's such a misconception right now. And also, we all have to start somewhere. So everyone starting at ground zero, level one, and it's okay to fumble first. We both fumbled first when we first started this process. Amita, talk to me. What was your process when you first started in the AI space and learning all things AI? Or even when I came to you and was like, hey, we're going to shift our podcast to all things AI. Talk to me about that for a second.
Probably not as all in as people think this, but I think that's why this stuff really resonates with me because I am that person. I am the one that can benefit from it, could use it, has the ability to more than probably I even realize. But it is a little scary. You hear these things, or I think the unknown can be intimidating. Learning something new can be intimidating, and just not knowing where to start because there's such a plethora of information out there. And not only the information, but different apps, different sites, different people telling you what to do or what you need, and at varying levels. So, depending on what you've been exposed to or not exposed to, it can kind of lean into how you feel as well. And so I think for me, I did actually dabble in it slightly on my own, just being more curious of simple things of just trying it out. But I think for us, learning that, hey, there's others that feel this way, I feel for everybody. So if you're watching this, please know it's possible. If I'm sitting here diving into it full blown, I'm like, you can absolutely do it too.
You're absolutely right. And one of the selling points for me is I viewed it almost like a virtual assistant or just
Mhm.
assistant in general that just never sleeps. Right.
Yeah.
And I think we would love to have someone in our life to help support our journey, our process. But it is going to be equivalent to like riding a bike. It is going to be feel very wobbly at first. But we all know how it is riding a bike. Like, even though you might start wobbly, it's a game changer once you get the hang of it. So you don't necessarily need to know how a car engine starts to work a car. It's the same thing with AI. You just need to learn how to steer it and how to navigate it. And that's what we're talking about today.
Great example, Casey. So, leading right into tip number 2, start with one simple task or item problem area that you could really use some help with. So, when we say learn AI, you don't need to learn everything about AI. Just like the example before, I know a lot of people talk about the plumber or the electrician. Like, you don't need to learn all those things. You either hire it done or you just learn what you need. I just need to turn on the fan. That's it. That's all I need. Do the same thing with your business. So, pick something that's small. If you were to bring on a new hire and you run a huge empire of a business, you're not going to give them your biggest client to start off with. You're going to start with something small, either a small task or job opportunity, and you're going to see how they do, tweak it as you go, and then decide to give them more and more as they succeed. And this is no different. So pick something small. Maybe this is, how do I respond to this email? Maybe I need some ideas for content. It could be even smaller. How do I organize my day today for my calendar? What do I want to eat today? I mean, really start with anything. Nothing is too small. We just want you to be able to test it out. Small steps are going to add up. So, this is going to help you focus on learning by doing and not overthinking because we all know it is so easy to get caught up in, ooh, I just need to watch another video. I just need to hear from somebody else. And when it comes down to it, we've done nothing and we're like 562 videos in. So, hopefully, this is the 63rd that will help you get through this. But essentially, once you do this, you're going to build even more momentum by seeing the results right away. So, Casey, have you ever had this experience where after you finally took that action step, you're like, oh, shoot, okay, we could do more of this?
No, absolutely. It actually happened just the other day when I messaged you, was like, "I think I just built a website." Or no, sorry, "I think I just built an app." So, and I think it was the last year, I take that back. It was actually the website first.
Yeah.
So, I watched all these videos and I dabbled in it, because I've built an agent before. I built a bot. Why can't I build a website? But I just have this thought that has to be list. Look at this, has to do this. So I
Mhm.
watched so many videos. Then it took just a few different prompts, but I was able to create the website that I had envisioned in my head. And I was like, oh, this is a game changer. This is definitely going to change the game of how we're doing things. And we have to make sure that we're sharing this kind of information with other people as well.
Absolutely. Also, can we just make a nod to the fact he just mentioned making a website, app, and an AI bot all in the same conversation?
I will step away and humble brag
Just
my way off the stage.
different, but this is the momentum, right? Because you figure out, oh, I could do one thing, and then it makes you kind of curious about the next thing, and then you start building that confidence, and you start kind of open your mind to what else you could do. So, as much as it is great to see the momentum building, we do encourage you to try at first to stick with one tool. And so by that I mean pick one app, one product, something that you're going to start with using. So maybe that's ChatGPT, maybe it's Claude, maybe you already use Canva and you want to try out Canva's AI, but pick something that you can just narrow in on one choice so that it's not as overwhelming. There's already a lot of things that could overwhelm you. It's a lot of new items, new learning moments. We don't want to flood you with different options too soon. So a good example of this would be, let's just say you're on Instagram, you're looking to write some captions, you want to come up with some hook ideas or real ideas. Go to ChatGPT. You can start simple. There's always levels to this. We can go into that later on, but start with something simple. Hey, can you help me write out 5 caption ideas for my Instagram reel? I'm a beginner. Keep it super simple. And honestly, it's as easy as that. You'll be super shocked when you see just how quickly it starts pumping out ideas for you and just honestly help spark your own ideas as well.
Those are great points. Let's move over to tip number three. Practice talking to AI like it's a human assistant. So AI responds best to clear, human-like instructions. These are called prompts. So if you heard another video, previous earlier in this video, we mentioned prompts. Those are just human-like instructions. So in talking to it like a human assistant, use the formula act like a blank, help me blank. So in this specific example, is like act like a music coach and help me guide me through these lyrics or whatnot. Probably a horrible example, but nonetheless, I think you probably get the point. So the better the prompt, the better the results. It's more conversational based. It's not just a command line. So Avita, I just gave a horrible example, but like, tell me what not to do, like when you're prompting.
So I think handling it conversationally is great because I also think that that helps us to process how we can use this and keeps it away from feeling too technical or too detailed. But I will say the more specific and direct you are, the better results you're going to get. So if you keep it super generic and you say, make me a post, it might translate that in a number of ways. Your mind might have been thinking, oh, well, I use Instagram. So I was actually thinking I need a reel because I need a video and I need the idea for that. But it's going to give you, it could be something for LinkedIn, it could give you an article. It's just a little bit too vague. And so it's really key in the formula that you just gave. The fact that you said a role and a task, that's really helpful for the input to give you a better result. So, another example of that might be, okay, you are a social media expert. in using Instagram. Please help me create an idea, title, and caption for an Instagram reel. Now, that result, you're probably going to get something much more specific and something that feels a lot more of what you were looking for. So I think just keeping that in mind as you're creating these prompts and something simple. Of course, you can always build on this and start adding more things like your tone, things to avoid. Sometimes you'll notice it's giving you the same result or maybe like a cliche answer, and you're like, no, I don't want that. Tell it. Like, same way you would tell a person, like, hey, I don't want you to address me by this. Call me by that.
Yeah,
So
and I
just,
think that goes into. I'm sorry, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
no, you're okay.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, and you kind of hit on something like, don't be afraid to give it the feedback. So
Yeah.
the make it more casual. So hey, you put a prompt in, you don't like the necessary results. You can say, hey, I don't like these results. Try again with using one, two, or three, or try again making it more humor or more business professional, or try again and less commentary or something like that. So you're training it to learn your voice and serve you and your style. You got to think of it like like an intern. Like the more that you clearly explain what you want, the better job it does. So I have to make amends from what I mentioned earlier. So perfect examples. Act like it's a personal, sorry, prompt. Act like a personal branding expert and help me write a 2 to 3 sentence elevator speech for my coaching business. Bam. That's the type of prompts that we want to give our AIs.
All right. So keeping the flow going, tip number 4, this is where we're going to suggest using free tools to build up your confidence. So we completely understand when you're starting off, or especially when you're starting something new that's a tool that maybe you haven't used before, you're not, let's be real, quite convinced yet that it's going to actually help you or be as easy. You don't need to pay for anything. So keep this in mind as you're testing these things out. There are definitely plenty of options that are paid and very useful, but that is not necessary to get started. So start with something that feels familiar to you. Now, depending on what your expertise is, depending on what your business is, who you are individually and what you're familiar with, this may vary a little bit, but some examples might include, we've mentioned ChatGPT before. I know we use the paid version of Canva, but I went with the free version for quite a while, probably almost a year, I'd say. And even now, I could make it quite a ways with just the free version. So you could do the free version of Canva. Grammarly is a popular one. Perplexity AI is another one we're hearing for research or quick explanation. So these tools are set up to be very easy. They're supposed to be user friendly, drag and drop, text based. You're typing in a prompt the same way you would text your friend or write an email. There's minimal learning curve with these, so they're a great place to start off. But let's talk about keeping your focus. So, as you're beginning this phase, we really want to make sure you're keeping your focus on one outcome. Casey, you want to dive into this a little bit?
Yeah. So I think it can become very easy to jump around. I want to do this. I want to build this, or I need to know this. And the more simple and direct your prompts are, the better your outcomes are going to be. So if you're working on a process flow, so to speak, it's important to go from one to two, two to three, three to four, and not necessarily try to go from one to four, then back to two, because just like an enter, use that analogy again, they'll get your AI will get confused. And then it will start to spit out different outcomes or different variables, so to speak, that you aren't necessarily trying to attract and as far as like everything that you're putting into the system. So just make sure you stick with the structure, stick with the flow, and one thing at a time, and you'll be able to produce anything that you, in a sense, put your mind to nowadays.
Absolutely. Good tips. We're going to keep it going. All right. So here's a little bit of a bonus. As you're trying these new tools, check out any of the mobile apps that are available because this will make it way easier. Instead of you having to be in front of your screen at home or at your office, it can be a great way to incorporate this when you're just out and about, or maybe you only have access to your phone. You can still access these and it'll make it a lot easier to implement into just your regular everyday routine. So, a real world example of this tip would look like I've actually had a few clients that in our group we have started implementing using Canva and ChatGPT. And I actually did this early on myself as well, where a lot of times you just hit that block, you can't think of anything, or you're spending far too much time trying to create content. And there are actually ways that you can go ahead and use ChatGPT, do your brainstorming, use these prompts. In minutes, you've already got your ideas. Head on over to Canva. You can get the nice, pretty designs that you see everybody else using. And honestly, in an hour, you can have several posts, sorry, that you're proud of, that you can actually get posted that are complete. And this is something that would take myself, would take my clients hours, if not days, or getting put off for weeks. And now you could do this in a matter of a few minutes, maybe even an hour. So definitely an awesome thing to see and be able to use.
That takes us to tip number 5. So follow real people who teach AI in plain English. I cannot stress this enough. Avoid the creators who throw out buzzwords without any context, or how to make $2,000 in 1 week with this AI tool. Is there some truth to that? Yes, but it's more so the exception versus the expectation. And again, I'm not putting down anybody who does it, but it's definitely very challenging to do. But it's not to say that it's not possible to do. But I would try to find someone who can teach it to you at beginner level. So look for people who actually use it in their everyday work. They're not just talking about it. Following creators who show their prompts, who actually give examples, who talk to beginners. So in a sense, who are showing you their receipts. And it's not just word of mouth. They're actually living, breathing, and doing it. I think it's important to just, whether it's news or subscribing to newsletters or other YouTube channels that break it down step by step. Learning this stuff can be complicated, but I think there's some really good people out there that do it. Evita, as you were learning this process, and obviously we talked about it a lot within ourselves, but what was your process as far as learning and following different channels, newsletters, reading upon it? What have you done?
Yeah. So if you guys know me, I'm probably not the biggest newsletter person. However, I did find ways to leverage content. So either I was using content or I would say word of mouth. So whether that's my friends telling me, hey, have you tried this? Have you seen this? But I would say in the real early days, I think I was learning about AI before I even knew that I was learning it, quite honestly. So even the example I just mentioned before about using Canva and ChatGPT, I saw that a couple of years ago. It was early, and that was early for me in my journey. And if you would have asked me, I don't think I would have said I'm using AI. But I would just see these quick videos of a tip, here's how you can bulk create, or here's how to do this. And I would just look at it and think, oh, that seems cool. I'm going to go try to figure out how to do it. And so I started having a few accounts that I followed, or said people that for me seemed easy to understand, or I liked either their tutorials or their feedback. I think also seeing people that gave negative examples as well. And by negative, I just mean not everything was, it's amazing, it's easy, it's this, it's that. Sometimes there was apps or scenarios that they're like, this is good. I don't love this as much. Or be cautious of this. And I appreciated that as well because I would rather see the honest feedback than to just constantly be told these are all the greatest thing.
Yeah, so I think it's important to surround yourself with others that are learning too. So, with that said, we talked about we learning, we using free tools, but we also got a couple tools for you guys as well, right? So, we have our own product that we have. We'll put the link down in the description below. We have a free ChatGPT starter kit, so to speak, for you guys. It's going for $11 right now, right? There's so much you can do with $11. Come on, $11, invest in yourself, invest in your learning. But we will continue to teach this. You have our channel. You have people out there like Matt Wolf. You can also follow channels and listen to channels from actual businesses themselves. So for ChatGPT, that would be OpenAI. So OpenAI has a YouTube channel that they provide very high level information as far as like their products and their rollouts and whatnot. So you can do that with OpenAI. You can do the same thing with Anthropic, with Cloud, Perplexity. So I think having a variety of different sources, being able to expand your knowledge and your skill set is awesome. So if you're learning how to cook, would you start with Gordon Ramsay yelling at you? Probably not. You'd find a more chill, maybe a YouTube cook that is on your level and that can speak the same language that you speak. And that's the same approach that we're taking with AI.
Great examples, Casey. So this is going to take us right into tip number 6. So do not try to automate just yet. Let AI just start helping you think to start off. So we've all heard the phrase, you don't want to compare your step 1 to somebody else's step 100. And this is no different. So most people, when you hear AI, the whole reason we start jumping to conclusions of it's going to take over and it's going to be all this, and you get overwhelmed and even just trying to think of how to learn with it. Maybe it's coming to mind, oh, I now need to automate everything. I'm going to have to learn all of it. But honestly, that's the step 100. We don't need to be there yet. We don't expect you to be. You don't have to be. So, step one, what does that look like? Focus on using AI just for your ideas to start off. So, whether that's trying to write something, maybe you're thinking through something, you want to learn, you're learning the AI. Maybe you even use it for suggestions there, but it could be, you want to learn how to cook or how to learn to use this new system or how to market better. And it doesn't even have to be, if that feels extreme, dial it back, make it something that feels doable for you right now. But it doesn't have to be anything crazy. So make AI your partner. Again, we are not in the business of forcing you to use AI and making you think that it's going to take over. Absolutely not. That's not how we use it, and we don't expect you to either. But we do think of it as a partner. So it could be whatever partner you need in that moment. Maybe it's a strategy partner, maybe it's a brainstorming partner. I know I have done this numerous times and will continue to do it. But when I'm coming up with either a new project, maybe there's already an active project I need to work through, or we need ideas. Like I said, content is a really great one to use it for. That also just happens to be what we're focused on. But find something that you're already working on that you're like, man, I wish I had a buddy in this. Use it for that. Once you're comfortable and you're comfortable going back and forth, kind of brainstorming and just using it on a basic level, then you can start kind of adding on to that. And that would be where we maybe build in, maybe your first automation. Maybe it's a simple somebody sends you a message on from your website, it pings them a response that says, "Hey, we got your message." But that's totally later. You don't even have to worry about those things right now. Often automations are going to be easier after you understand the basics. So feel okay starting with step one and building on it. If you're hearing all of this and you're thinking, yeah, that sounds great, I don't understand how this is going to work, I can give you an actual example. So I had so many ideas. I should say, I always have ideas. And I hit a point that I was like, this needs to get executed. And I could not find a way to get from A to Z. I kept getting lost in the details. I kept thinking, oh, I need to learn a little more. I could do this, that, the other thing. So I actually used ChatGPT, and in a matter of a day or two was able to create a program that within the next week or two, I was able to take from concept to not only having an offering, but marketed it and was live in the first meeting, all with ChatGPT, because I had someone to help get me through the ideas and the planning and all the things that were holding me back. So this is just one example of how it quite literally can help you. And this was a business idea that we went from idea to paid clients and a full successful program. And honestly, you could do the same easily.
And this brings us to tip number 7. Create an AI habit. It's 10 minutes a day. I love this because, they said habits aren't built overnight. Totally get that. Totally understand. But, it took me a while to kind of fully understand I need to treat AI education and learning AI just like I would anything else. So if I wake up and I do 25, 30 push-ups right away, okay, so why can't I spend 10 minutes a day learning AI? So, treat it like I'm building a muscle, just, small reps daily lead to big bursts. So, Avita, my question is for you. Are there any habits that you do currently that incorporate the use or involvement of AI?
Ooh, I think we're probably a little beyond the beginner stage now because now it's the opposite. We need to sometimes not use it for everything.
True. That's
Because
a good
now
point.
it's like we could use it for this and that, and there's so many ideas. But I will say this, I do like the reference of it being a muscle because as someone who just started going back to the gym and is very sore,
Hey.
it's the same. It's building a muscle not only in setting the habit, but also expecting that it may not necessarily feel great at first. So if you run into a speed bump, it doesn't give you the answer you thought right away. Maybe you tried one app and it's not what you thought. It's okay. It's okay to have that hurting muscle for a day and keep trying it. Keep showing up. And then if it truly doesn't work for you, okay, maybe you need a different program. Maybe we need to try something else, but just recognizing that as you're in this growth phase.
I think that's good. And what I would suggest is if you haven't done this already, you're looking to kind of get started, just set a calendar, maybe a recurring calendar event every single day for 10 minutes and just create some prompts. So write me a caption for this photo of me at this event, or help me explain what I do in one sentence. Summarize this article into 5 key points and start to keep a tally. So maybe like a prompt journal. So find yourself a prompt journal, and then you can see what worked or what didn't work. So maybe you envision what it's supposed to look like, and then you put the prompt in, and it doesn't necessarily come out like that. Okay, maybe we need to tweak a couple things. Maybe we need to add a couple different words. Maybe we need to do the role and the task and be very specific in our approach. But consistency builds comfort, which builds skill. So every morning, maybe ask AI one question: what's a creative way to promote my offer today? How could I brainstorm without overthinking? And just remember, like, AI isn't just a crash diet. It's like brushing your teeth, a daily micro habit that compounds over and over. And the more we get comfortable with it, the more we start to brush our teeth and then actually maybe floss afterwards. And then maybe use some mouthwash as well.
So, if you're one of these people that we are speaking to right now, you're in business, you're creating, you're just getting started, and you just want something simple, you want somebody to tell you exactly what to do, check out in the links below where we are going to attach our quick start guide made just for you. And we will also put a free one pager of the tools we mentioned in today's video. Otherwise, make sure to subscribe.